All right, we're live. Let me get out this tweet real quick and we'll start breaking down today's betting slate. Here we go. Boom. Bucks release Antonio Brown. That's a crazy story. Okay. Welcome, everybody, to today's ATP Betting Breakdown. I am Cale Hammond, and I am surviving. It's pretty rough out here in the streets during week one, but we're starting to catch a groove. I've done this long enough to almost expect a losing week during the first week of the season. It's more about watching as many players as you possibly can, so you can get a feel on how they're doing moving forward, as opposed to, living or dying on whether you win money on week one of the ATP tennis season. Week one is a crapshoot. It always is. It always will be. But it is important to focus and watch these matches and see who's in good spirits, who's playing well. So the lines have been pretty sharp all around. Nothing. They haven't hung anything totally stupid. Yesterday was a bad day at first, and then it was a decent day aside from two bad reads on Leylah Fernandez and Henri Laaksonen. But we won the play of the day in Griekspoor, which is nice to win the big one. And we won Fritz money line, Chapeau money line. Thank God he beat Struff. That was was about to go 2-6 versus Struff. That's not good. And we lost Tommy Paul by half a game, which is frustrating because he was up a break late in the second and up 4-1 in the third, ultimately winning 6-4 in the third. Lost that by half a game. He probably should have got job done there, but Tara Daniel's playing really well, so that was a good win for him moving forward. Iga, the bad read. Iga Swiatek made Leylah look like a child yesterday, beating her 6-1, 6-2 in an hour. She has yet to lose a set in Adelaide in her career, and while I thought +3 for Leylah was decent and it was safe, I was wrong by about 6 games, which is super lame, because if you were on Iga from the start in that match and you see that it's a no contest, those are the kinds of matches you can double down, even triple your money on those. But in tennis betting, especially in tennis betting, if you start on the wrong side, just sit there and just take your loss and just eat it, because when you try and flip your bet in tennis and make back the initial play that's looking terrible, that is the absolute best way to lose all of your money. So if you have a bad pick and they start out, they get rocked the first set, just sit there, take it like a man, take it like a woman. Just eat it. Just eat the loss. It's an important skill to develop when you're betting on tennis. Laaksonen versus Munar, that was a terrible read. I mean, that's my bad. I think it's good in the long run, just because now I'm not going to trust him again on an outdoor court for a while. Indoors, he's great when the still conditions and he can catch a groove. I mean, he really is a tough player, but he was out-aced by Munar 11-0, so it wasn't really possible to see that coming. But, yeah, once again, not going to trust Laaksonen moving forward. I'm going to talk about the Djokovic stuff later at the end. I think I want to focus on the betting and get started, but it's pretty fascinating, Djokovic's mentality and his mindset and, what he believes versus what the rest of the world and the Australian population believes. He really does think he thinks he is not, I don't want to say a god, but whatever the closest thing to a god is, I think he believes it. And how could you not when you see what Serbia is doing, with the support and the vigils that people are singing, outside of this room? It's just it's just crazy. So let's just get started with the sorry about that. It was very loud. Let's get started with ATP Adelaide, starting with Marin Cilic versus Laslo Djere. So Marin Cilic, we lost him against Montero by 0.5 games, but Montero saved 87% of his break points. Cilic should have won 2 breaks, but Montero played pretty well, and Cilic looks very good. So I have this Marin Cilic -3.5, and I believe it is -3.5. So that's good. I'm going to bet this ASAP just because Cilic looks really good. Jere is not comfortable, winning tough matches on a hard court. He can play people close for sure, but I'm not even sure he should be here. He got a default against Corentin Moutet, and look, just I think Cilic beating Jere by 2 breaks is a solid bet. So I'm going to be on that one for sure. Moving on, Gael Monfils or Tommy Paul. I have Monfils -2. He is -3. I think there's definitely some value on Tommy Paul, but I'm probably going to avoid this one. Just because you never know with both of these players. They're prone to mental lapses. Their highest level is out of control, but they are both prone to some mental lapses. I'm going to watch and see how he plays because if you don't know this about Monfils, it's very important when you're betting him, in that if someone is playing super aggressive and the whole time and letting Monfils use his absolutely unparalleled, never before seen in the history of the sport, athleticism, he's amazing. He loves nothing more than chasing down balls the entire time and hitting incredible shots. It's what gets him up in the morning. It's why he's still playing. He loves the highlight shots, and if you're giving him opportunities to hit those, he's fantastic. So we got another garbage truck coming by. But if you watch Tommy Paul and Tommy Paul's out there and he is playing, through the middle, not giving him much pace, being super patient, and that's how he's committed to playing, I think I would absolutely have no problem hopping on Tommy Paul live. But once you see if Tommy Paul goes out there and tries to force it versus Monfils, I could get ugly. But look, Paul definitely admires Monfils. He's one of his favorite players. Just the flashiness, they share that showmanship mentality. So anytime you play, one of your idols, it's a tricky situation. So I'm going to wait and see that live. And if Tommy Paul is being super patient, then I will make a bet on him. But other than that, I'm going to avoid it. Next up, Egor Gerasimov versus Karen Khachanov. I had Karen Khachanov -3.5. He's -4. Look, Gerasimov, he's holding service games, in 30, 40 seconds right now with the balls. They're playing with the ATP Dunlop balls on a relatively quick, high-bouncing court. And I played with them actually yesterday. I bought a bunch of ATP Dunlop balls. They probably use fresher, newer, better ones. But it's still the same ball. And it's a very light ball. And it is an absolute BB when it's fresh. And when there's new balls and they have, 8 new balls or whatever. He's going to hold serve against Khachanov. So it's going to be close. I'm not going to touch that -3.5. Khachanov, look, this guy, he's so tough to predict. You just got to let him play his way into a season. And I think a good spot to look for Khachanov is, in the middle of these super long matches. If you can sense his opponent getting tired, then I think Khachanov's a great bet because he's a fucking grinder, man. He I wish he would be a little bit better at tennis given how he started and his promise, but he's a professional. He's in shape. That's never an issue with Khachanov. So credit to him there. I'm not going to touch that one. Moving on, Thanasi Kokkinakis versus Mikael Ymer. I had Kokkinakis -1.5 games. I think he's -2. That one's a tough one. I want to bet Ymer, and I might still do it, but I don't want to be on the wrong side of a, miracle Kokkinakis healthy comeback run. He could totally come out and win. Like we said, with Ymer, if he's ripping the corners and going huge, I like Ymer's ability to defend. And if this does get physical and go pretty long, I think Ymer is going to be a good live bet because he's an underdog now. And so if it's in the third set, he'll probably still be a slight underdog in the third set. So that's how I'm going to play that one. I don't want to be on the wrong side of, Kokkinakis winning the tournament because I posted him against TFO already and that cost me. So I'll just probably sit that one out and monitor live. All right, moving on to ATP Melbourne. We have Alex Molcan versus Emiil Ruusuvuori. Molcan was a great bet yesterday against Goffin. I said I have no problem taking Molcan. I just didn't want to do it because I wanted to see how Goffin looked he still looks terrible. I think there's a decent chance that Goffin his days are numbered. He's he's 5'9", 120 pounds, and he's not like a Diego where Diego's built like a tank. Goffin is skinny. And, if he's not healthy and he's not able to move around like a lightning bug out there, he's gonna get rocked. So Ruusuvuori versus Molcan. I like Ruusuvuori here. I had him -2 to start. He's -1.5. So I think there's good value there. The conditions with these, lively balls in the quick courts, they're very good for Ruusuvuori and his easy power. So if he can catch a hot streak, there's no reason he can't win 4 games in a row against Molcan. But Molcan is a gamer, and he's very tough out right now. So I've lost so many Ruusuvuori bets recently that I can't in good conscience recommend to play there. But I do like him here. He's burned me so many times. So I probably won't be betting that one. All right, moving on. We have Rafael Nadal versus Tallon Griekspoor. I had Nadal -4.5, standard, heavy favorite spread. He is -4.5. I think this is a good chance to just place a small amount on Griekspoor money line at +370, and then if he wins a set, then you can hedge, and you can just get out. And I think there's totally a chance that he wins. The guy's won 28 matches in a row. There's always the intimidation factor. Someone facing Rafael Nadal, there's that you got to deal with. But I think if he can start well and knock it down 3-0, 4-1, he's going to realize that he can hang with him from the baseline. So I think +4.5 is not a bad play. I'm going to do the money line and hope that we can get into a situation where Griekspoor's closing in on a victory. Kind of like what happened with Jack Sock when Jack Sock played Rafael Nadal in DC. That was a great match for live betting purposes because you're on Sock in the beginning money line, and then he gets +700, and then Nadal, he gets up, and then there's almost even money. Then you can just hedge on Nadal, cash out, no problem. I'm a big fan of cashing out when you're betting high volume tennis, just because lately and at the end of last year, and especially, no lead is safe, it seems these days, especially in the beginning of the season. So if you have a chance to, just take your money and run, I would recommend doing that, especially if you're doing high volume. If you're doing 1 or 2, maybe just sit on it. But if you're, trading back and forth and you have a chance to cash out for a couple $100, depending on what you bet, definitely think about it. Moving on, we have got Ymer Munar versus Maxime Cressy. So I had Cressy here -1, and he is -1. I like the money line a lot more for Cressy. This will be arguably the biggest clash of styles you're going to see the entire year, with Munar, playing so far behind the baseline, playing mostly defense, and Cressy just unrelenting aggression, serve and volley. If Munar serves like he did yesterday, it's going to be close. But I like Cressy money line there. I don't like taking Cressy spread there just because, if he doesn't serve well in the first couple of games, Munar could get up 5-0. Like, he really could. So I like money line there for Cressy. One thing that I do like about Cressy in this matchup is that Munar is going to may have no idea what to do, because Cressy's going to give him absolutely no rhythm whatsoever. And these clay court guys, if you deny them a rhythm, it can get pretty ugly sometimes. So I wouldn't do anything too big, but I will bet Cressy money line in this one. Let me just write down the picks what we have so far. We got Cilic, we got I'm not going to put Griekspoor as a public play, but definitely it's a smart move to do a tiny bit on the money line because it's +370. It's a lot of juice there because he's one of the hottest players in the world right now. But that's not going to be an official pick because he's probably going to lose. You know how that works, but it's a smart play. So Cilic, and then I like Cressy money line. And yeah, moving on to might have a play of the day here. Botic Van de Zandschulp versus Grigor Dimitrov. So you don't need to give me a reason to bet Botic. He's one of my favorite players to watch. I think he's an incredible talent. The shots that he has in his arsenal, the slice, the huge serve, the crack forehand, he can go heavy, he can loop it, he can crack it. He's just fucking good. He's just really, really good. And judging by this line, it seems that the odds makers don't believe he's that good yet. So that's fantastic. It's a stretch, but there's a chance that, when it's all said and done, depending on how healthy he stays, there's Botic just could be a better player than Dimitrov from here on out. I think he's that talented. I might be a little high on him because he's won me a lot of money, but Dimitrov was just so bad against Bagnes yesterday. I luckily I got on him live money line and he won, but when Dimitrov is missing like his chip return, like 5 feet long, and just not timing his chip return, it is so easy to hold serve against him because he does miss a ton of returns. And Botic has a very good second serve as well. So I really like him. I had Botic +1. The line is +2. I don't think you win a lot of money taking +1 and +2 game handicaps. I think you're better off just going straight up money line, which is +132. So we're going to make that bet right now. I think that's a great bet. I think that's probably the play of the day. Like I said, you don't need to give me a reason to be high on Botic. So, yeah, I'm going to take that one. I think that's a good play. He's so good. All right, next up, ATP Cup. We got Pablo Carreño Busta versus Kamil Mastrak. Not saying that right. I'll figure it out. I had PCB -4. It is -4. And if you want to take Pablo, I have no problems there. He's just much, much, much better at tennis than Kamil. And I think 2 breaks per set is a safe bet. I think a 6-2 is possible, with how he returns. Not going to give Mastrak that many free points. Matrak's serve is not that good. And most importantly with Pablo is that he has 3 wins at ATP Cup under his belt already. So he's starting to catch a groove, and I think we're going to hop on that. We're going to add Pablo Carreño Busta -4 there. Don't ever put too much on big game spreads because if you get burned and you bet too much, it's a sickening feeling. So just play it small initially, and if he starts up, looks really good, I don't think we're going to see a situation where Pablo cruises in the first set and then Mastrak comes back and wins in the second. I don't think that's happening. So I will be betting PCB here. Next up, RBA versus Hubert Hurkacz, Roberto Bautista Agut versus Hurkacz. I had Hurkacz -2 to start, but this is a pick'em. So RBA looks good, but Hurkacz is a better player than RBA at this point in their careers. I don't know how you can argue that. The biggest thing and what my most profitable strategy is betting tennis pre-match is when you have a matchup and one player is going to get 15 to 20 more free points on serve, because those add up, and that is the name of the game. Hubert Hurkacz is a huge serving grinder, but he has the ability to step up and crack winners. So I'm going to probably be on Hurkacz money line to start. If he's off and RBA is, hitting good passing shots and all over the place, it could get ugly because Hurkacz does have an up and down erratic game from the baseline sometimes. But if he looks comfortable to start and is serving well, and most importantly, if he's making a lot of returns, and not just making a lot of returns, but getting the return to RBA's backhand, I'm going to bet this live even more probably, because RBA has shown that if you put returns in play mid-court right now, he's crushing that first forehand. But Hubie has the range and that awesome backhand return. I think he's going to be able to take some line and get RBA, away from that first serve, step to the ad court pattern, which is just he's so good at. And I love Hurkacz, dude. Like, yeah, he's had some bad losses, but I won a lot of money betting Hurkacz last year, so he's got a special place in my heart. So I'm going to give him a shot. And touching on a WTA play, my WTA play was so bad yesterday that I probably shouldn't even be thinking about betting WTA. But Anisimova -3 games over Arina Camila Bagu is tempting. She's just so goddamn talented that if she's in good spirits and competing hard, she could absolutely win this match 3-3, no sweat. Like her ball striking and her ability to take it early and create angles, flat, hard angles that you can just do nothing about. You just sit there and watch. I want so badly to catch, Anisimova while she's still a little bit underpriced if she does get hot and has a good run in her, because you could make a fortune if you catch Anisimova when she gets back to, the top 10 in the world, a place she most definitely belongs. Okay. So yeah, summing up the bets of the day, we're going to be on Marin Cilic -3.5. We're going to be on Maxime Cressy moneyline, and we are going to be on Pablo Carreno Busta -4, and we are going to be on Botic Van de Zandschulp moneyline. I think those are four pretty solid plays. I would be shocked if we get 0-4 on those. I'm feeling a little bit better about these than I have the past couple days, but week one, anything can happen. Week one is always sketchy, and definitely lower your stakes week one. There's no reason to be a hero week one. We got 50 more weeks, 52 if you include challengers, where the real money is at. If you know what's up. So yeah, quickly going over. That's it for the betting stream. I'm going to talk about Djokovic for a little bit here just to get clicks on YouTube so I can put his name in the headline, if I'm being completely honest. So, but I do have some thoughts on him. It's a crazy situation. It is unfortunate that I think he probably got, or this is me assuming things, so this is not reporting anything. This is me. He probably got like a nudge from Tennis Australia, be like, yo, definitely come. We'll get you hooked up with the medical exemption. And then it seems that he is now a pawn in this, political statement, an understandable political statement, because Australia is 93% vaccinated and they've locked down, their population for so long that, these Australians who've been suffering for the better part of 2 years see a rich, powerful tennis player come in and just not vaccinated and say not going to get vaccinated, and comes in and says, I'm fuck you guys. I'm on Djokovic. I'm obviously going to play the Australian Open. I'm obviously going to make them furious. So you see it from their side more so than Djokovic's side. If he did enter Australia on possibly semi-fraudulent visa grounds, that is fascinating. I'm really not qualified to talk about that. And I thought Alex Gruskin had a good point that he said, tennis is a game. He loves tennis. Tennis should never get in the way of public health. And that's a good point. I agree with that. But what I'm more qualified to talk about, I think, is the mentality of these athletes more so than the political stuff that I, really don't like. I don't like commentating on. I'm not qualified to talk about it, but I am qualified to talk about, the mentality of professional athletes, because I've spent a lot of time around them, and, I've devoted my whole life to, watching and studying them. And Djokovic thinks he's a god. And in a lot of ways he kind of is. Everything he puts his mind to, he accomplishes. He's the best tennis player of all time. His need to be liked it's fascinating. It really is. But look, bottom line is that if Djokovic doesn't get accepted and has to leave Australia, I don't think he's going to play the Australian Open ever again. I think he's going to smash the all-time Grand Slam record while giving the middle finger to Australia, and I think it will give him more fuel and more motivation that he does not need to, be even better and make a statement. And I think he can get to 25 slams without the Australian Open, and that would be just an all-time middle finger. And I don't think Tennis Australia wants to risk not having Novak Djokovic at their tournament ever again. They're not going to make as much money with Djokovic not there. They're going to make TV money. They're going to make ticket money. Djokovic is the best player in the world in his prime. And if they don't let him play, I think it's entirely plausible that he pulls the plug on Australia altogether. He's still going to have the most Australian Open Grand Slam titles for men. So it's fascinating. It's fascinating, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do, but I'm not qualified to talk about that. Summing up once again, bets of the day. Botic is the play of the day. If Grigor comes out and, plays really well and, beats him, it's going to be super frustrating, because then you're dealing with a Grigor Dimitrov in 2022 that you just have no clue what to expect, which is frustrating. But he has had a lot of success on these courts, so don't bet too much. But I'm going to be making a decent sized bet on Botic. I think he has all the tools to beat Dimitrov, and I think if he wins the first set, then you have an opportunity to hedge a little bit, and mitigate the losses. So that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll see you all tomorrow.